Okay. Now, let us discuss about the next concept. So up to the last class, whatever we have discussed is all about introduction to Docker. Okay, so how we can, what is meant by Docker, and then we have discussed about what is meant by container, and then before container, how we are used to access the applications inside a server, and later how we can access the virtualization, types of virtualization like hardware virtualization and software virtualization. These are the concepts that we have seen up to the last session. Now in this session, what we are going to discuss here is how to install Docker in a Ubuntu environment. So if I want to install Docker in a Ubuntu environment, what I have to do. So these concepts we will see here, and then we will go ahead into the architecture, Docker architecture or container architecture, right? So now let us discuss about how we can create the, what I can say, how we can install the Docker. So Docker installation in Ubuntu machine. This is what we are going to see here. For this, let me log on to the server first. So I'm going to take my AWS account in which I am going to create a Ubuntu machine. Okay. So now how we can create an Ubuntu machine. See, one thing just I want to tell you, anybody who doesn't have the cloud knowledge here, who doesn't know how to create the EC2 instance, who doesn't know AWS, anybody is there? Or else who knows AWS cloud? Just raise your hands. I don't specifically want you to make noise like I don't know. So can you tell me who is having knowledge in AWS? Okay. So those who doesn't have knowledge on AWS, let us do one thing. So I will just tell you how to create an AWS EC2 instance. What we can do here. So so first of all, create an AWS account. First of all, create an AWS account. So here, okay, once you create the AWS account, if you log into the AWS account, the console will be looking like this, and you don't have this recently visited tabs and all the things. You will have the console home looking like this. Now, in the right hand side here, you can see there will be so many regions. Regions. These are all called as AWS regions. And here you can see this is the AWS home, and here in the grid panel, you will be having different services. These are all the services available. Okay. So now what we can do here is in the search bar, type VPC. Okay, type VPC. It's very important. So first of all, what we are going to do here. So I'm just giving you the basic information about the AWS, how to create AWS and how to work with the AWS. Okay. So the most important thing here is if you want to create an EC2 instance, or else if you want to create a server. Okay. So now what you have to do, for example, what is this AWS here? AWS is a public cloud. I will go to the Docker installation, but first of all, let us have a brief introduction towards AWS. I'm not going very in deep. Okay, just a introduction to AWS so that you can understand how to create the EC2 instance. Now, when you see AWS is a public cloud. Now, when we are discussing that AWS is a public cloud, okay, this is fine. Now, the next one is what is meant by public cloud? anyone can have an account in the AWS environment in AWS and can create the server or can create the EC2 instance. If you are having a credit card or a debit card, and as well as you can create the EC2 instance. For example, you also selected, for example, so I want to create an EC2 instance. Okay. So now if you see here, this is my AWS account or else this is a region, US East 1. What is this region? Region is a geographical location. This is the US East 1 region. In US East 1, there will be a availability zone. Okay, there will be a availability zone. Okay, which means see, in India, there is a state called as Andhra Pradesh, or else there is a state called as Karnataka, or any state you take. So region is nothing but a very large place. In that we are going to take a small place that is called as availability zone. But if you go in deep into AWS, that's a different thing. But I'm just making you understandable about what is a region, what is an availability zone. Inside the availability zone, you will have a data center. You will have a data center. For example, this is the data center. Now, inside the data center, you will have a rack server. Physical server will be there. Okay. So now, if you see here, what are these things? Now, this is my uh, region. This is region. This is aged, nothing but availability zone. Inside the availability zone, you will have a data center. Simply, I will call it as DC, data center. DC means data center. Don't get confused. Okay. Inside the DC, you will have a physical server. This is the server. Inside this physical server, we can create multiple virtual machines. Okay. So this is my EC2 instance. Okay. So here, what you can do, this EC2 instance belongs to one company, and the another EC2 instance will be created in the same server. And this EC2 instance belongs to the another company, and this EC2 instance belongs to the another company. This EC2 instance belongs to the another company. Now, if you can see here, now let us suppose think this belongs to Ola company. This EC2 instance belongs to Uber company. This EC2 instance belongs to Rapido, and this belongs to Red Taxi, for example. Okay, so four different EC2 instances belongs to four different company of, for example, I'm saying if these EC2 instances are created on a single server, then what happens here? Then definitely there might be a chance that these EC2 instances will communicate with each other. The EC2 instances are nothing but the servers, guys. Don't get confused about this. These virtual machines will communicate with each other. There is a chance. I'm not saying that definitely they will communicate, but due to any reason, they can communicate. Okay. So when these servers are communicating with each other, when these servers are communicating with each other, are they, do we have any privacy here? Do we have any privacy?
No, for this question. No.
So we don't have the privacy here. We don't have, in the sense the servers doesn't have the privacy. Okay. So definitely what I have to do, definitely I need to make sure that definitely I need to uh, make sure that These servers will not communicate with each other, even they are created in a single physical instance. So how I can do that? So to make sure that what I have to do here is, see, you are in an gated community. For example, let us suppose this server, whatever the server that you are seeing here, this belongs to a gated community area. Inside the gated community, you will have what you are going to have. You are going to have the servers. Okay, you are going to have the houses, normal houses. Now, when you are having the houses inside the gated community, now what can be happened here? Now, what can be happened here means, now one house or else one person can communicate with another person. Like the person in one house can communicate with the person in the another house. Or else, if they don't have any, what I can say, any wall, any compound wall, or else any wall across their houses, then definitely there might be a privacy issue. So what I have to do, I need to create a network wall. Okay, this is the compound wall which I have to create across the house so that there won't be any privacy issues are there. So here, in the same manner, here also what I can do here is, I don't want to make sure that this particular servers of Ola company should communicate with the instances of Uber company. Okay, and these two should not communicate with the Rapido company, and this should not communicate with the Red Taxi company. So for that, what I can do here is I can configure a VPC. Whenever we are configuring this network boundary, okay, whenever we are configuring the network boundary, then what I can do here is we can make sure that, okay, we can make sure that, so we are going to create a VPC. VPC is nothing but a network boundary. For example, for a particular industry. So if I want to create an AWS account, and inside the AWS account, if you want to create any EC2 instance, definitely you need to have a network boundary called as VPC. Okay, so that VPC will divide the servers that belongs to the different users. So in a public cloud or else in a public domain, there will be so many number of servers that are available for different users. How these servers are going to be differentiated depending on the VPC range. So in the same manner, here also, first what we need to do, we need to create a VPC. So by defaultly, you don't need to create you don't need to create a VPC here. Why? Because AWS will provide a default VPC in each and every server. Okay, in each and every what I can say, in each and every region. For example, this is the North California region. Here, if you go to the VPC, you will have a default VPC in the North California region here. Look at there. Hmm. Here you can see this is the default VPC. If you go to any another region also, you will find the same. If you are having an AWS account, in the AWS account, you will have a default region available for you. So you don't need to create a VPC. Okay, so VPC will be available. So now in this VPC, in this default VPC, what you can do here is you can create an EC2 instance. Okay, so you don't need to create the EC2 instance in each and every like you don't need to create the VPC in each and every region. So the VPC concept is all about in the AWS. You will get to know about the VPC concept in the AWS. But here we are not going to discuss. Why? Because it is completely the Docker and Kubernetes class. So anyways, the point what I need to tell you here is, so we are going to configure the EC2 instance in the default VPC. How we can create the EC2 instance in the default VPC? To configure EC2 instance in the default VPC, what we are going to do here is simply go to EC2 in the search box, type EC2, virtual servers in the cloud. EC2 is nothing but the virtual servers in the cloud. Okay, good. Then go to instances. Okay. So now when you go to the instances, before launching the instance, what I have to do here? See, I am going to create an EC2 instance in my instance is nothing but the server. Okay. In my AWS account, where I am creating this server or this EC2 instance, I am creating the EC2 instance in North California region. See here. I am going to launch the EC2 instance in North California region. So now what you need to understand, I am going to create a server in the America region. Okay, US region. This is the server or EC2 instance in which I have to install the Docker. I will make it as Docker server. Okay. Now this Docker server is there. Now where is the client location? I mean, my laptop is in somewhere in India. Okay, I'm in India. Now, if I want to connect from India to the server which is in America, okay, the server which is in America. So this is my client mission in India. Client mission, or else I will simply call it as laptop. Why again I need to make you on discomfort with this? What is a client mission and all things? So there is a laptop in India. Now, if I want to connect from India to US, through which I can connect to that server, what is my requirements to connect to that server? Are you able to understand how I can connect to that server? Tell me, guys, how I can connect to the server. In between this laptop and that server, what is the requirement? Sorry, excuse me. Yeah. In between this laptop and this server, what I have to do? How I can connect to the server? Tell me, guys. So I need to have the internet. Over the internet only, I can connect to that server. Without internet, I cannot connect to the server. Okay. So I will connect to the internet, and from the internet, I will connect to this server. Now here, what you need to understand here is, I can easily connect to the server, but the main problem is if you want to log in into a server, or else if you want to log in into your computer, what is the most requirement thing? If you want to log in into a computer, what is the most required thing? Public IP. So you can unmute yourself, guys, and you can talk. I don't want all these messages. Please unmute yourself and talk.
Remote access like SSH and RDP
SSH and RDP is fine. So we will do the SSH, but how we are going to do the SSH?
with the requirement of server public IP.
Server public IP is there, but still we require something. What is that? Basic thing, guys. If you want to log in into a server,
Username and password, including
username and
that.
yeah, you username and password. But the main problem here is if I create a username and password here, if I create a username and password here, and what I can do, so what I have to do here is I have to give the username with the SSH, and this SSH will or else what happens here, whatever the password that is traveling over the internet will not be a secured one. So whatever the things that are going over the internet, they are not secured. So I don't want to provide the credentials like this. So despite of that, what I can do here is I can generate a key pair. I can generate a key pair. Okay, now what is this key pair? A key pair is for authentication purpose. So if you want to log in into the server, when we create a key pair, a public key and a private key will be generated. Okay, a public key and a private key will be generated. Private key will be generated. So here the public key will be with the server. Okay, so when we have created a key pair, you will have the public key in the AWS account, and that public key will be given to your server. And the private key will be downloaded, or else private key will be with the client. The private key will be with the client. Automatically, it will be downloaded into your client laptop. Okay. So now what happens here? Here you are having public key and here you are having the private key. Simple. So you are inside a home. You are in a home. Okay. Now you want to go to a party. Okay. If you want to go to a party, what you will do? You will lock your home and you will go. When you lock the home, so you will carry the key with you. You will carry the key with you. Again, if you want to log in into the home, again, if you want to log in the sense, enter into the home, definitely you need to use that key only. So here, which one is public and which one is private? So yeah, here the lock is, what is the lock? Lock is a public, and which means the lock can be seen by any person who is coming to your home. Everyone can see that the lock is there to your home, which says that the user or else the person who is there in the home is not available. But there is a key. So that key will not be available for users. Okay, that key will not be available for all the other users. The only key will be available with the user who is the owner of that house. Okay, he was only the person who will carry the private key. So in the same manner, and if you want to log in into the house, definitely you need to use this private key to unlock the public key and log in. Is it clear? If you want to log in into the home, what you have to do means if you want to enter into the home, you have to open the lock. So to open that lock, definitely you require a private key or else the key which you are carrying. Okay, in the same manner, here also there will be two keys generated. One is the public key and the other one is the private key, and the private key will be available with the user. And if this user want to log in into this server, definitely we need to access this private key. Now let us see what we can do here. So first of all, let me create a key pair. Take a look over here so that you will understand what I'm saying. I'll go to key pairs. Okay, create a new key pair. It is my delete later. I don't require this, but to make you understand, I'm creating this key pair. So the key pair name is delete later. I want in the PEM format and create the key pair. So if you can see, a key pair has been created in AWS and a key pair and a key is downloaded. One key is created in the AWS and delete later.pem has been downloaded into my account. So this delete.pem is my which type of key, whether it is a private key or public key, which got
Private,
downloaded now server.
private key.
It is a private key. Okay. So later what I will do here is using this particular key pair, whatever the key that I have created in the AWS, using this key, I am going to launch an EC2 instance. Launch means create an EC2 server. So look at that. Okay. Launch instance. This is my Docker _servlets. server. I will select the Ubuntu mission. Okay, you can select 2404, 2204, anything which are free tier eligible. Okay, so these free tier eligible servers or instances will not cost you. Okay, but don't run them 24/7. If you run them 24/7, then it will be a little bit difficult for you. Okay, so you have to, whenever you have created the instance, select the instance which are free tier eligible. Select the instance which are free tier eligible. They won't make you charge. Okay, so the cost will not be there. Pricing will not be there. Okay, now let us go for the next one. Instance type is T2 micro, free tier eligible. And the key pair here is, I will select delete later. This is what the key pair just we have created. And the network is VPC and the subnet is default VPC only. We don't need to select, you don't need to create a VPC. But if you have knowledge on creating the VPC, creating the EC2 instance, you can create it. We don't have any problem. But if you don't have any knowledge on VPC, just to go through the default VPC only. Okay. Right. Up to here, it is fine. So you will select that public IP, you will assign that. Now my question is, what is this firewall or security groups? Okay, what is the main functionality of this security group? Now, can anybody tell me what is the security group will do? Hmm. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever traveled on a flight or else don't go with the flight. So have you ever visited a mall, shopping mall? Have you ever visited a shopping mall? Everyone will go, right? Like, for example, in Hyderabad, there are so many malls are there, like the Forum Mall or else what else AMB, like that. There are so many cinema halls will be there. So when you go to the theater or else when you go to a multiplex, when you are entering into the multiplex, what will be there first? Are you directly going to enter into the theater or else first what you are going to
Good
do?
security check.
Security check will be there. So they are going to do a security check and they will just scan you and check out there are any restricted items that you are carrying. They won't allow those persons into the mall or theater. In the same manner, now from where the data is coming? From the internet, the data is coming. So not every data is safer for my server. Not every data is safer for my server. So to make safer for my server, what I will do here is I will allow only the data which I trust. I will allow only the data which I trust. To allow that, what I am going to do, I am going to create the security groups. So this security groups will make sure that only this particular data should be allowed. So that is what security groups is all about. So here I can create a security group and for example, SSH _hyphen access. I am going to provide only SSH access. So here you can see type is SSH. I need to allow the traffic called as SSH to access that particular server. I want SSH access and simply launch the instance. That's it. We are not going to do anything else. Now, if you see here, we have the EC2 instance available for us. Docker server is available. Okay. So this Docker server will have the public key. It will have the public. One second, guys. Look at that. So the Docker server is having the public key. This is the public key. Through public key only, we are able to access our server. So copy the public IP, open PowerShell or command prompt. Anything you can open. Okay. So CD downloads. In downloads only, I am having my PEM file. Okay. So if you can see here, where is that PEM file? What is a PEM file? Delete later PEM file I have created. See there. Delete later.pem file is downloaded when 17/12/24, 7:28 AM, I have downloaded the delete later PEM file. The PEM file got downloaded. Now SSH-I, what is the key? Delete later dot PEM space Ubuntu. Why? Because for Ubuntu server, the username will be Ubuntu only. Ubuntu provide that public IP address of the server. When you provide this, it will ask you the same. Do you want to continue connecting to the server? Here you can see we have connected. We connected to that server which we have created. So this is how you can create the server and log in into the EC2 instance or server. So here you can see 172.31.9.11. That is what the server IP address. 172.31.9.11. So to know the IP address of the server, if config, that will not be there. So I need to install that apt update -y. Apt is a package manager or else installation manager. If you want to install anything in the Ubuntu, definitely you need to go with the apt. Okay. So now what I will do here is sudo su hyphen apt install, or sorry, apt update -y and apt install -y net-tools. Okay, so hold on. Look at here. When I give if config, it is going to give me the private IP address of my server. So we will see that. So hold on. Yes, it is done here. Now let us go for if config. Look at that 172.31.9.11. I mean 9.111. So here the IP address of the server is also the same. Okay. So which means that we just logged on to our cloud server. Once we have logged on to the cloud server, we don't have Docker on this server. So we need to install the Docker on the server. And one more thing you need to understand here is whenever you can see here we are having only two adapters. One is the Ethernet 0, which is a physical adapter, nothing but your network NIC, information, or also NIC card, NIC card. We will call it as NIC card. For example, if you take this through this host adapter, host network adapter, the data will be entered into your server from the internet. So this is what ETH0. Okay. So what is the meaning of that? If anything has to enter into your server, through this adapter only it will be entered. Okay. And here you can see one more adapter that is called as LO, loopback adapter, which means that it will be available in every instance, in every device. Okay, every networking device, either it might be a server or else your laptop or desktop, any instance or any device, you will have a loopback address for testing purpose. That LO is there, no, that is called as loopback address for testing purpose. Testing, we will have loopback. But one thing you are unable to see here is, okay, so now what I will do, I will install Docker. So to install the Docker, you can go through many commands. You can run with the many commands, but I don't want to run with many commands. Okay, you will get confused of that. So simply I want to install the Docker. How I can install that? Curl -sl https://get.docker.com bash. Simply you can run this command. I will give this command in your chat box also. Try to run this command. Okay, I just gave you in the chat box for everyone. Hold on. Run this command so that you can access, you can create the Docker. So you don't need to go for each step-by-step commands from the Google, right? So hold on. That's it. Now Docker is installed on our server. So how can you say that, sir? Simple. Docker PS. What is this Docker PS? I will tell you. So Docker info. Okay, so here you can see I'm getting the information, or else if config. So previously, how many adapters are there? Now, how many adapters are there? Network adapters. Previously, how many network adapters are there? And do you find any difference between the previous command and this command? What is the difference that you find out?
Previously, there is two adapters and now it's three. And
See,
the here is Docker written on the adapter.
so which means that a new adapter called as Docker bridge adapter has been created. Okay. So right. So it is creating the new adapter. What is this adapter? That everything we will discuss in the Docker networking. But right now we have installed the Docker on this server. Okay, so here I will stop. Okay, so if I go very deep about the Docker architecture, you will get a little bit confused, overwhelming. So now only how to install, how to create the key pair and everything. You might get something overwhelming for this. So now what I will do, I will stop here. So now here we have installed the Docker on our server. That's it. So tomorrow we will discuss about the Docker architecture and Docker networking, Docker everything related to the Docker things. Now the next one is I just want to give you the course introduction. So the entire concepts that we are going to discuss is Docker and Kubernetes. And for the course related information, what you can do here is you can go to durgasoft.com. Here in durgasoft.com, if when you go to this, there you can see my Docker and Kubernetes syllabus will be available for you. Where is it? Yeah, Docker and Kubernetes syllabus is available for you. This is the entire Docker and Kubernetes syllabus. What we are going to discuss in Docker and what we are going to discuss in the Kubernetes level. And one more thing here is the course duration will be 20 days. 20 working days. Okay, so each class will be 1.5 hours mostly, and sometimes it might be extended 2 hours also. The batch timings or else the class timings will be from 6:30 a.m. So from 6:30 a.m. we are going to start, but now we are into the demos, so we are starting the session at 7 a.m. But whenever once the demos are completed, which means tomorrow's session is completed, then we are going to start the session at 6:30 a.m. So yes, uh, I hope that I have given the entire clear-cut understanding about what are the syllabus and what at what time the session will be started and how many days it is going to take the time. If you have any
Yeah,
questions now, you can ask me.
yeah, Chaitanya. See, I went through that course content, okay, where it was mentioned that 4 months
Where it is mentioned that?
con- in that course content, but now I'm able to see 20 days only.
Yeah,
So, is it okay to complete all these concepts within a 20 days?
yeah, that is why we have designed the course for 20 days. It is not 4 months. I don't know where you have checked the which course you have checked. I am showing you my course, which will be completed in 20 days.
Okay.
Have you
So we
checked
are
that?
not going.
Yes.
Maybe we take wrong one then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We are
No worries. So can we means we are going to discuss this Jenkins and can you go down please? Means you are going to
Jenkins
take
is
a
not there.
Jenkins.
Jenkins is not there, but here we are going to discuss about the integration of Jenkins. Okay. Hmm. The entire Jenkins will not be given here.
And what is the cost price for this?
5,000.
5,000.
So Chaitanya, I mean, I just joined a little late for the class. So everything, all the practicals, we are going to do it on AWS.
Yeah, everything we are going to do it on AWS.
So whatever the, I mean, like how to log in, how to create and all. So today's session is good enough for, starting with AWS
Yeah,
instance.
yes, that is it, enough. So if you want to know how to create the AWS account, just go through any one of the YouTube video, you will get the knowledge on that. It is not very difficult. Simply click on create. As I don't have another card for creating the instance here, so let me show you one thing. See here. So if you go down, aws.amazon.com/free. Okay, here you can see create a free account. So I already have so many accounts, so I'm not going to create it, but it is simple. So here you have to provide the email address, whatever the email address you are having, and then you have to select your AWS name, and you have to verify the email address, and then you have to provide the required details, and you have to provide that debit card information, so that it will cut only 2 rupees. It is a free tier account, so it is going to AWS will charge you 2 rupees at the initial stages, and later what it is going to happen, depending on the service which you are accessing, it is going to deduct certain amount. Okay, it is not going to deduct the amount directly. After 1 month, a bill will be generated. In that bill, you can see what are the resources that you have utilized. So you have to pay for that. Am I clear here?
Yes, Chaitanya. Yeah.
Yeah. So just go through that once, so you can create your own AWS account also.
I have one question also. Can we use virtual on our
Virtual
system?
machine. You are talking about VBox in your system and create the instance. Yes, you can do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
But the main problem is you can do up to Docker. But when you go for the Kubernetes, when we are discussing about the Kubernetes, definitely we will be going with the AWS account only. Okay, or else in the virtual machines also you can do, but the main problem comes with the load balancer service. There is a concept called as load balancer service in AWS. There comes the main problem.
Okay. But sir, I have one question also. If I use the private cloud, like an we say any private cloud or a private servers, so how can I use that load balancing on that?
That's what I'm saying. So load balancer service is only acceptable for cloud machines only. It is not for the on-premises environment. For that, you need to go for an ingress and everything. There is another very big topic that is available for you.
Uh,
Okay.
okay. So you teach ingress in this, or I have to take another course for that?
No, I will cover everything, but I won't cover on-premises environment. I will go with the AWS only. Anyways, I will make you understand about the things, but the main problem comes whenever we are working with the KOps. Okay, so I will tell you, but right now I don't want to make you confused about whether I need to go for AWS or else I can create my own EC2 instance. I mean, I'm my own server in virtual machines. You can create your own servers in your virtual machines. And one more thing here is, whenever you want to access or else whenever you want to run the Kubernetes, the minimum requirement is 2 CPU, 4 GB of RAM for each server. Okay. So I'm not going to say the Kubernetes cluster in the mini cube. If I say that, that will be that is not useful for you. If I say the Kubernetes cluster installation in Minikube, that won't be helpful for you. I will tell you in the production grade environment only, where we can configure the EC2 instances in general, how production, how you are going to create the cluster. The same I am going to tell you here. So I'm not going to tell you in the Minikube. First thing is that, and the second thing is 2 CPU, 4 GB of RAM is required for one server. Like that, we are going to create 4 servers. Okay, which means that you need 16 GB of RAM and huge amount of CPU. Does your laptop have that?
No, I have servers in my house. So I after that I can use on practical.
Yeah, you can use that, no problem. Okay, fine then. So that's about your AWS entire configuration. Docker and Kubernetes. And yeah, any further questions?
So as per your comment, Chaitanya, so maybe I hope like 1 to 2 session on Minikube as well, because every time we are not going for cloud. So if we are doing a
No, 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 no,
practice.
no. I'm not going to touch the Minikube. Again, I'm repeating the same. So in the companies also, they won't ask you to work on Minikube. They will directly ask you to work on the cluster. Okay.
I hope one session as well.
No, that is
For
not there in the syllabus. We are not. I'm not going to touch it. If I have to say that about the Minikube, if that is unnecessary, why I'm going to tell you that? Okay, so I have to cover so many things. Okay, so in that unwanted thing is Minikube. I don't want to cover that. If you go to the if you want the Minikube, you can simply go to the YouTube. There are so many videos are available, but production grade videos are not available in the YouTube. Okay, so how to create the cluster, and so even though those are available, those are not properly configured. If you try to configure the cluster from the YouTube, sir, then I can learn from the YouTube only. No, sir. If you ask the question, if you go through the YouTube also, the cluster creation is not properly given. So whatever the tools that I am saying you for creating the cluster, they are not there. Whatever the cluster components I am saying, those are not there. So it is not a recommended practice. But if you want to go through the Minikube, you can installing the Minikube, you can go with the YouTube videos. That is not a very big deal there. Okay.
oh,
Right.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I'm Nishtha Mant, and I am a final year student doing BTech, and I recently got placed in a company. So I wanted to take up this course for package upgrade. So is this helpful for me?
What is your role in that company?
Like
Just
developer?
the designation. So which developer? Java developer.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm also a certified cloud practitioner, so I'm comfortable with console.
AWS console, you are comfortable. I understand that. You are a certified cloud practitioner. You have done the basic AWS certificate,
Foundation level, yes, sir.
foundation level. Okay, so as you have done that and you are having a very good knowledge, like a basic knowledge on cloud. I don't say a very good knowledge, a basic knowledge on AWS cloud. This will be very helpful for you as a full stack developer. I hope
Yes.
you know the word called as full stack, right? So where you will go from creating. So as a developer, you will develop the code and you will push the code into the GitHub. And from the GitHub, you are going to work around with the AWS environment by using Lambda functions and everything. So now if you want to run the code, you don't require the servers. In the Docker and Kubernetes itself, you can work around with those containers, and I will tell you how you are going to work. But this course will be very helpful for your package upgradation. Whenever you are going for an 6 months review or 1 year review, this will be very helpful for you. And you can
Yes.
do the certification also.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Sir, for Kubernetes certification, you will provide guidance in this course only?
Yeah. So whatever the topics that we cover in this course, that is more than enough to clear out the Kubernetes certification.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Questions, guys? Okay, so I don't see any further questions. So that's all from my end, and we'll meet in the next session and discuss more and more on Docker implementation, and then we'll go into the main concept of Docker from Thursday. Thursday onwards, it will be a paid sessions, guys. So tomorrow is the last demo for you. Yes. Yeah, Aaron, you are about to ask something.
Sir, today I joined 15 minutes late. Is there a recording available I can go through for this first 15 minutes?
Yeah, it is available. So the recordings you are going to get just a contact DURGASOFT. They will provide you the recording. Okay.
Done. Okay. Sure. Thanks.
Chitin, timing will be from what time?
6:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. But demos will be 7 a.m. Tomorrow also the session will be at 7 a.m. But from day after tomorrow, the sessions will start at 6:30 a.m.
The way to resume at 7 o'clock, is it possible?
No, it is not possible. Why? Because so without starting the session at 6:30 a.m., I cannot complete the course by within 20 days. Even I start at 6:30 a.m. also, it is not going to complete by 20 days. It will take somewhere around more than 20-25 days. Okay. Yeah.
Any other batch, Chaitanya, evening batch, anything you have?
Evening batch, we already have that, and it is going on Kubernetes. So it is better to join in this batch only.
I have other conflict. I have other batch until 9:30. Everything 8 until 9:30.
8 to 9:30.
8 to 9:30 means it's
The batch will be completed at 8 o'clock, right? So you can join into the another batch.
okay, sir. Let me go. Thank you.
Just go through your comfortness. I am not going to force you about the joining, but if you join, the sessions will be at 6:30 a.m. Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. So we will meet in next session.